Well, I just showed you the numbers, and when we look at the head-to-head with yourself, John Robitaille, Lincoln Chafee, in general, what's your reaction to the numbers?
Yeah. Numbers look good to me. I've been listening to Rhode Islanders, during the course of this campaign. I'll continue to listen to Rhode Islanders, get their ideas, and obviously we're focusing on the small businesses and adding jobs to Rhode Island. So, the numbers will speak for themselves, and they'll continue to speak as the campaign goes on. But to be, right there at the top of the list, that's a good place to be.
No question about it. Statistical dead heat between you and Lincoln Chafee, and of course this is a long ways off. But when you get your fingers dirty with the numbers, you lose the independent vote to Chafee by 7 points. How important is it for you to get those back?
Yeah. Again, I'm going to continue to listen to Rhode Islanders, and I'm not as well known as the other candidates in the race, so I expect to, as I run this campaign and listen to the people that are sitting at their kitchen table with the pile of bills, trying to figure out how they're going to pay those bills, they're going to get to know me better, and we're going to solve the problems of Rhode Island.
But specifically to independents, I mean, you cannot win an election without the independent vote, correct?
Yeah. Well, you need all Rhode Islanders, and Rhode Islanders are very intelligent voters. So as this campaign progresses, I'll be listening to Rhode Islanders, and I'll be focusing on the local economy and especially the small businesses. We need to get this economy moving.
As you pointed out, you're not as well known as the other candidates, and in fact, when you look at the favorable, unfavorable, you get 23% of those polled say they really don't know you. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that's a good number because we have a lot to build on. And the people that do know me obviously are putting me in a good place in this poll. I'm going to continue to listen to Rhode Islanders because it's the ideas from everyday Rhode Islanders that get the state moving again.
In this poll, and as you pointed out in other polls, when you line up against John Robitaille and maybe any other Republican, you grab Republican votes from John Robitaille compared to Patrick Lynch. What does that say about how people view you or how people are getting to know you?
Well, I'm addressing the needs of all Rhode Islanders. I'm not focusing on one end or the other end of the state, focusing on all the people. I don't care where you live or what your political leanings are. We're all in this together, and we're going to get the state moving.
We also did not just the horse race, but a lot of the issue questions in here. And I'll tell you one question that jumped out was the blame game. People who blame, when they finger point on the budget problems that Rhode Island is facing, in huge numbers, they point to the General Assembly. Is that a fair assessment? And if so, how do you, as governor, work with legislators to right the financial ship?
Well, number one, the legislature does control the budget, so Rhode Island is a very intelligent placing the blame there. Number two is there are some legislators that obviously you need to have some changes made there. So this will be a very interesting election for the legislature because I think we'll see many candidates running, and they'll be focusing on the direction of the state and especially the budget decisions that have been made.
But how, as governor, are you? I mean, you're someone who has experience on Smith Hill, and you know that end of it. So how do you reach across? Governor Carcieri has had a terrible time trying to get his proposals even passed. They're dead on arrival. How do you fix that relationship?
Well, every decision that's made in the state legislature, before the decision is made, the legislators have to ask themselves, how does this decision affect small business and the jobs in Rhode Island? 60% of the people working in Rhode Island work for a small business. So we need to focus on the economy and the jobs in Rhode Island, not on the Yankee Red Sox license plates.
Let's talk about that, the focus. When we asked of issues, I'm wondering what you think were the top three concerns when we laid these out to voters. We had national security, education, taxes, deficit, economy/jobs, and healthcare. What do you think were the top three of those?
Well, I think the jobs and economy would probably far outpaced any of the other questions that you asked. The other ones I would think probably bunched together. I wouldn't.
Any thought on what a distant second? Well, you're absolutely right on the economy jobs. I think that's a no-brainer in a state that has nearly 13% unemployment. Any thought on a distant second on that one?
No, but I would think the other ones were all pretty close to each other.
One other question we had asked in there, 70% of those polled say the state is going in the wrong direction. 13% said in the right direction. About the rest was split. Any concerns as a state elected official you'll be lumped in with the current government and the discontent toward the current government?
Well, I'm not looking to back up the status quo. I'm here to change things. I don't care, who is looking at this direction of Rhode Island right now. It's not going in the right direction. We got to change things. We got to get the state moving again. And it's the small businesses that employ 60% of the people in this state that we have to put some wind at the back of the small businesses. And it's the fellow that's sitting at his kitchen table right now with that pile of bills saying, how am I going to get through this week? How am I going to get through this month? That's who I'm thinking about, and that's who I'm going to fight for in this election.
Your focus when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of an election is not the general election where we did some of the horse race in this poll. Of course, it's the primary as you move forward and lining up against Patrick Lynch. I know you've probably fielded this question a lot this week, and there's been a lot of chatter about it. Any thoughts of abandoning the Democratic Party?
No, I'm going to run very strong in the Democratic primary, as the numbers show in this poll, and will continue to show as people look at this race. I'm very comfortable running in the Democratic primary, and we'll continue to focus on winning that election and the larger election.
What do you think when you hear that type of chatter, or that discussion surrounding your name?
In Rhode Island, there's no shortage of political experts, so everybody has their opinion. But you can see that I'm running, and I'm getting support across the spectrum of all the way pollsters slice up Rhode Island. So I'm focusing on Rhode Island. I'm focusing on people that are working right now, and the people that are afraid that they may lose their job, and the people that are looking for jobs. And I'm listening to the people of Rhode Island. I'm going to stay focused on that. I'll let the political experts continue to do all this talking that really isn't going to change the direction of Rhode Island. What's going to change the direction of Rhode Island is me getting in office and us together with the people of Rhode Island changing the state.
Often the bellwether for how people are feeling when you poll is Jack Reed. He's hugely popular. He even took it on the chin a little bit in this poll. Everybody got hammered in the favorable, unfavorable. What does that tell you about the mood of the voters?
No. People are either nervous about their own job, nervous about the pile of bills sitting on their kitchen table, or there's someone that's very close to them who is either out of work or worried about their job. So because of that, you're going to have a lot of unrest. And that's why I'm running, is we shouldn't be in that place here in Rhode Island. People shouldn't be sitting at the kitchen table tonight worrying about whether they're going to be able to keep their job or not, whether the company's going to stay open or not, whether their small business can meet the payroll next week. That's why I'm running, and we're going to change that.
And finally, when you look at these numbers, how do they jibe with any internal polling that you've done?
Yeah, they match up with a lot of what I've seen. It matches up with polls that have come out and been made public over the last few months. So I like what I see, and I'll continue to work hard listening to Rhode Islanders.
Great.